What is going on, YouTube? It is GeneralTarheel, your coach of the Charizards, bringing you the APA Season 5 Week 3 battle versus Coach Dan, aka aDrive, and the St. Louis Rampardos. For those of you who do not know, I'm currently 2-0 with a +6 differential, looking pretty good so far as we have wins over Panther 2, and recently last week we did take down WolfeyGlick, the former VGC champion, and his Milwaukee Bewares. That was a really good game. If you haven't seen it, check it out already. Came down to last mon, last hit. Very great battle right there versus Wolfey. But as we're facing Dan this week, I am 0-1 versus Dan when it comes to it. I did face him Season 3 of APA. Unfortunately, I didn't face him the LC season. He just wasn't on my schedule. But Dan is one above me when it comes to former battles. He just brought a different team than I expected, and it kind of almost happened this time around. But really looking forward to this battle. His team's pretty interesting. It's pretty offensive in my opinion. He kind of relies on just the simple bulk and Sylveon and Cofagrigus when I was looking at this. I was really just expecting those to come. But I found a few Pokemon that I felt like were going to be pretty good, but at the same time I had to be very careful about some of his offense, because just on matchup his special attackers kind of overwhelm me. And I knew this going into it, and it was pretty scary. But as for the 6 I decided to bring, of course, a max defensive Mew, because I need to for his Mega Lopunny. Going into this, I figured his Lopunny was going to be either a just a standard set, but have Baton Pass and get a lot of momentum in with Hydreigon, because Hydreigon does a lot versus my team, especially if he just brings a wall-breaking Choice Spec set. But I was also potentially just expecting a Fake Out Last Resort Mega Lopunny, because that just does kind of blow back Mew, especially if he catches me going for some stupid move off guard or something. But I have a defensive Mew with Rocky Helmet, and it has Roost, Aurasphere, Taunt, and Psychic. Aurasphere, of course, is for the for the Stack Attack that he has on his team. Stack Attack was kind of pretty scary a little bit at matchup, because the Trick Room variant can be very annoying versus my team. Both Trick Room options that he has in Cofagrigus and Stack Attack were kind of scary in this. Trick Room Cofag, if you see my team, is actually just a massive problem, and I knew that going into this, but I wasn't too worried about it necessarily. But I do have Taunt Mew also to avoid those potential Trick Room setups, potential Stealth Rocks from either of those Pokemon. Whether a Pokemon wants to continuously go for sub or something, or anything of the sort that could be annoying, Mew can prevent that. And Psychic, of course, just to be able to have that stab as well as hit some of the Pokemon like Mega Lopunny and Nidoking that do so much to my team pretty super effectively. Aurasphere also allows me to get potential strong damage off on Hydreigon on a potential switch in if he just expects me to go for a status or something of the sort move, like Stealth Rocks or something, for example, or if I were to go for a Psychic type move. That's a free switch in for Hydreigon, so I do want to have the Aurasphere coverage just in case, to where it's kind of free sometimes to click that on Mega Lopunny, and if Hydreigon does come in predicting that's just a Psychic, I'm able to get a lot of damage off versus the Hydreigon, and it's less of a threat thereon for the rest of the battle, because I'm able to take it down with other options on my team. Next up for Whimsicott, we got Floofer. We do have a Choice Scarf with Prankster. We have Moonblast, Energy Ball, Hidden Power Ground, and Tailwind. Once again, got to carry that Hidden Power Ground for the Stack Attack. It's pretty scary. But Choice Scarf is just really helpful for the Mega Lopunny, as well, just always being able to be a direct counter to Scarf Hydreigon, which I kind of fear this game. Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, I'm both very afraid of those. Because Choice Specs will do a lot of damage, but Choice Scarf is able to threaten a lot of things that typically will outspeed it, such as Gengar that can have the Dazzling Gleam coverage, which I'll go over in a second. But Whimsicott's mainly here just to pick off a little bit, be a direct counter to a few, and excuse me, my voice is feeling out of it. I've been sick lately, so I have been having throat issues, so it's not normally just voice cracks, but my voice is actually kind of dead, so keep that in mind. You can still call them voice cracks and roast me for it, because that's fine, because I typically do. Commentary. Anyways, Whimsicott was pretty good. Initially, I wanted to have Infiltrator, and I had Psychic over Tailwind. In the long run, I probably should have put Psychic over Hidden Power Ground, just to be able to have another counter to Nidoking. But it sucks. Nonetheless, I wasn't really able to bring that, especially since, of course, Stack Attack didn't even come or anything of the sort, as you see on the screen. But Whimsicott was still going to be a very good pivot for my team. Choice Scarf for Revenge Killer, and at least get a lot of chip off for the team to where Gengar and Mega Heracross can do a lot of damage. Gengar was the Pokemon I was expecting to do a lot of work going into this battle, and it has the Cheelon Berry with Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Dazzling Gleam substitute. If I get behind a sub, I am very annoying for his team. Now, to be fair, Black Sludge was probably a better option for this being a substitute set, but I wanted to bring Cheelon Berry just because I felt like it'd be pretty cool since you never see a ghost type having Cheelon. Unless it's, of course, probably versus Mega Lopunny, such as this. But I just really wanted to try and catch the Mega Lopunny off guard, and after it takes like some Stealth Rock switch in or the for sure Rocky Helmet, I'm going to try to get on it with Mew, then Dazzling will be able to take it out, and I could already drop Lopunny if for some reason Mew takes too much damage or something of the sort, if he were to have another like physical wall breaker instead of Cobalion that he could have on his team. Next up, we do have Blastoise. This was a max SPDef, like max HP, max SPDef Assault Vest Blastoise. Excuse me. I have Hidden Power Poison, Earthquake, Scald, and Mirror Coat. Hidden Power, Poison, of course, for the potential Tapu Bulu that he has on his team, because that thing is pretty threatening versus me. Mainly because I'm just not expecting to bring it, because I do have pretty decent counters that I'm just deciding not to bring entirely. So I just have to be careful if he does decide to bring it. And other than that, Earthquake, of course, is the Volcanion. I'm in minus speed natured, so I can get at least a little bit more chip on the Volcanion, because it should most likely be more of an HP set this week than speedy. There is a chance it is a Choice Scarf variant, but either way, I'm kind of expecting more bulky. Of course, Skull is just for overall stab and just getting off versus his team. Mirror Coats for those very annoying Pokemon in Nidoking and Hydreigon, mainly Hydreigon, if I need to be able to get off the most damage possible and make sure I'm able to put down those Pokemon, because they are the biggest threats versus my team. And next up is Mega Heracross with Close Combat, Pin Missile, Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, almost a max attack Adamant, Mega Heracross with a lot of HP and a good amount of speed. This is just able to tear open most of his Pokemon. I want to get it behind a Tailwind. It really destroys most of his team. I felt like I probably should have brought a knockoff for Cofagrigus, but I had reasoning behind every move here. Close Combat, of course, for general stab and just overall just wall breaking. Pin Missile allows for multiple hits on many of the Pokemon that he has on his team. That was probably when I could have potentially have switched out. Rock Blast I needed for neutral hits on a lot of his Pokemon, as well as it hits well versus Volcanion. And Bullet Seed just allows me to hit neutral versus Nidoking and get off the most damage possible versus it, just in case I need to eat a potential like Life Orb Flamethrower or Life Orb Sludge Wave from Nidoking and be able to return a hit and deal with it, because I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Nidoking and Hydreigon were the scariest things in this matchup, 1,000,000%. Stack Attack was also pretty scary in my opinion, but things like Mega Lopunny I'm able to deal with Mew, as well as I have pretty good like checks to it and the Scarf, Whimsicott and stuff like that. But 1,000,000% Hydreigon, Nidoking, very scary in this match. Lastly, probably the least useful one that actually ended up coming was my Registeel. It was kind of a mixed bulky set. I had max HP with mixed defense, mixed SPDef, and 92 in special attack. And you might be wondering already, why in the hell would you actually have investment in special attack? Registeel has Stealth Rock, Focus Blast, Seismic Toss, Toxic with the Phytinium Z. Once again, I'm bringing Phytinium Z for 3 weeks in a row. At least it's on Registeel this time and not Gengar. But the reason I'm doing this is because this allows me to have a direct counter to his Cobalion and his Stack Attack if he wants to bring it. One, when Registeel is out, that is typically a free like SD or something of the sort for Cobalion. Fight Z, 1,000,000% knocks out Cobalion with a 92 special attack investment that I have, because he just about needs max speed for like the Mew and stuff on my team, and he also needs attack investment to make sure he can break through Pokemon such as Mew, such as the defensively bulky Nidoqueen or the Blastoise if need be, and also Seismic Toss for neutral. But the Focus Blast, of course, Focus Blast would just break back Stack Attack. It's mainly I had to bring Z just to make sure I hit it and everything of the sort, as well as get the KO on Cobalion if needed. This is just to stop them and make sure I get up Stealth Rock, since he doesn't have the best hazard removal, I'd say, and I wasn't really expecting too much going into this fight. He doesn't normally get rid of hazards when I watch him battle, so knowing that, I was going to abuse that. And of course, Toxic is just for the potential wear down of walls and Sylveon and Cofagrigus if he decides not to bring like Heal Bell and Sylveon or something of the sort. Now, that was probably a good amount of time. That was under 10 minutes. That's kind of like record breaking for me. But as you can see, he brought Volcanion, Hydreigon, Sylveon, Mega Lopunny, Cofagrigus, and Nidoking. 1,000,000% just expecting Life Orb Nidoking, wall breaking set. Might have Stealth Rocks, might not, because that is the only potential Stealth Rock on his team. It depends on how much coverage he wanted to bring. At the very least, he needed dual stabs, and then I don't know what else he would actually bring apart from dual stabs, to be completely honest. Maybe Thunderbolt just to cheese Blastoise. I don't know. Cofagrigus, I was expecting a defensive set based off of the rest of his team. I was scared of the offensive Trick Room set with Nasty Plot, but luckily for me, he's not bringing that. That with Ghostinium Z would absolutely destroy my team 1,000,000%, because I opted not to bring Incineroar, which would have been actually terrifying. But based off the team, he's definitely just going to bring a defensive Kofag. Probably going to have either the Culperberry or Kasib. Reasoning behind that is I'm probably expecting Kasib. He didn't tell me after what it was, but just be able to either cheese Gengar or be able to stop Shadow Claw from Linoon, because I don't really think not many people remember that Linoon gets Throat Chop now in Gen 8, even though Gen 8's been out for a while. But still, with the move tutors and stuff, he did get Throat Chop. That might have just been Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Either way, he has Throat Chop, and that just allows him to have more coverage for the Ghost types that typically want to come in on him, so to prevent him just from normal spam. So if I would have brought Linoon, it would have been really good this week, honestly, looking at his team. If I were just to be able to nail either would have been Throat Chop or Shadow Claw, I probably would have went with Throat Chop just because Kasib would have been helpful for Gengar, like I mentioned. But Lopunny, based off this team with Hydreigon and Nidoking, I am expecting a Baton Pass pivot. But like I said, wouldn't have been surprised if it was that Fake Out Last Resort. Sylveon, defensive Sylveon, Wish Protect, 1,000,000%. That's all I'm expecting going into this. Offensive doesn't really make too much sense versus my team with Registeel and Nidoqueen, sorry. Hydreigon, I feel like Scarf would be more safe for him, but Specs would actually be able to just destroy my team if he's able to pivot correctly around with it, especially if he has Baton Pass on the Mega Lopunny. And lastly, Volcanion, I'm expecting just a bulky kind of offensive set, maybe with Toxic to get around Blastoise a little bit, but definitely just there to be able to break apart the team once Blastoise is gone, or just to help to break down Blastoise so Hydreigon and Nidoking just can destroy the rest of my team. So, definitely was expecting like Cobalion or Stakataka over Volcanion most likely. Still kind of surprised he didn't opt to bring one of those, because both Cobalion and Stakataka are counters to a setup Linoon, and the fact he brought, depending on the Kofag set, Linoon actually could have just swept his team, especially if I'm able to deal with Mega Lopunny accordingly with Mew first. Linoon, if I brought it, would have been able to sweep, which is kind of unfortunate because now it's been 3 weeks and I haven't brought Linoon. I haven't even brought Dragonade. So hopefully week 4 when I face JustKurt, I'm able to work around that. But as for this battle, when the start of this was happening, I definitely wanted to make sure going into this that I wasn't going to lead with rocks. Dan always decides to do a counter lead. He never really considers what's best for him. He always assumes that the best is a counter lead. He doesn't really think what he should actually do. Just based off of what I've seen from his battles, because I am a longtime fan and watcher and everything of the sort. So I knew just going into this, he was either probably going to lead Hydreigon to get on the most damage, Nidoking, or Volcanion. One of those 3's answers to stop Registeel. I'm assuming you want to keep Mega Lopunny in the back just because there is a direct answer for that in Mew. Those other ones don't really have the strongest of answers on my team for, so you'd be able to pressure me the most. So I'm deciding to lead Mega Heracross just because it allows me to deal with Hydreigon and Nidoking the most. Even though I do want Mega Heracross behind Tailwind later in the game, I want to make sure that I'm still capable of dealing with Hydreigon and Nidoking if possible. If that means Mega Heracross gets weakened, I am fine with that. And I really just need to calm down and take a drink. Stop talking so fast while this thing catches up. And as you do see, he does decide to leave Volcanion. This is a little scary though, because I'm not sure if this could be a potential Choice Scarf set. If this is a Choice Scarf though, Hydreigon would most likely be Choice Specs, so I do have to keep that in mind. But I'm going to have to switch out here, and if he does for some reason opt to switch, knowing that I could potentially be faster, because Heracross has a better base speed than Volcanion, but there's a chance I run the Adamant, and he could decide to run the Timid. I would see that I'm faster, and of course we do switch out first, so this does confirm Heracross is faster than Volcanion if I do have to stay in versus it once again, which is very important. This is a lot of switching for the start of the battle, which is kind of annoying, but I'm going to opt to switch into Registeel, and he makes a very strong play here of having Baton Pass on his Sylveon. So now I'm really scared that Sylveon and Mega Lopunny will just have Baton Pass on both of them, and he's able to pivot in his Wall Breakers and Hydreigon and Nidoking and destroy my team. As you can see, Nidoking. But I am totally fine with this. I'm just going to get up my Stealth Rocks and let Registeel go down. 1, I want to keep Blastoise as healthy as possible. 2, Registeel is less important since he does not have Cobalion or Stakataka in the back of his team, as well as like the potential setup Musharna, where I would have been able to eat a hit and get off Toxic and everything of the sort. So just being able to get up Stealth Rocks and let Registeel go down here is perfectly fine, because once again, I need to keep Blastoise healthy because there are so many things that threaten my team that Blastoise needs to switch into that I just need to keep it in mind that it's very important to keep him healthy. So I'm keeping it, or sending in Blastoise nice and fresh here versus the Nidoking. Gonna go for Earthquake here. Reasoning behind that is Volcanion's just about his main switch in, especially since he opted not to bring Bulu, and being able to get the necessary chip on this, and we also already break Shuckaberry, Shuckle Berry was pretty interesting for him to bring. He probably wanted to be able to cheese Nidoqueen or something of the sort if he was able to do that. And, excuse me, my voice is still giving out. He goes for a Toxic here versus my Blastoise. I knew there was a very solid chance, like I was 80% like certain he was going to go for a Toxic here, but I really had nothing to switch into. Even though I'd be able to Toxic him if I switch into Mew or Synchnoise, I want to have a direct switch to Mega Lopunny, so there's no reason for me to get Mew Toxic. I want to be able to, I can't risk switching into Gengar. One, I'm not going to do that much damage to it anyways if he has a HP variant, and he blows back Gengar with a very strong move, so it's too risky for that. So I really had no way of going around this, so I just kept Blastoise in and wanted to get off another Earthquake to at least where this thing could die on Stealth Rocks and switch in, potentially. And right here, I'm going to make the risky switch into Whimsicott. I was really just... Fire Blast was his best play, because I don't have a switch into that, but if he wasn't carrying it, then that was good. But he just opted to go for the Steam Eruption as I switch in Whimsicott, which was very lucky, and I'm able to knock him out with an Energy Ball here as he decided to keep Volcanion in. Totally fine with Volcanion already being gone, even though he's probably going to be able to switch into a Wall Breaker now. And he opts to go into Mega Lopunny. I'm totally fine with this, because once again, if he would have just brought in like Hydreigon, that would have been very scary for me. I guess he's just keeping the Scarf in the back, if he does have it. But I am Scarf Whimsicott, but I was locked in an Energy Ball, so it wouldn't have been really that helpful. 1,000,000% going to Mew here. Designated switch into Mega Lopunny. And as we're going to switch into Mega Lopunny here as it Mega Evolves, he's just going to opt to go for the Fake Out, of course. Best option versus Whimsicott, of course, because if I did decide to go for like a Prankster move, that could be very annoying for Mega Lopunny. He just showed to be Fake Out last resort, and this is going to do a lot of damage to Mew, but I'm getting the necessary Hot Rocky Helmet damage. And of course, with Aura Sphere here, I'm able to take it down to where the next Rocky Helmet is able to take it out. I did prep this. I did have to put like 12 investment into Aura Sphere on Mew. So to make sure that that'd be able to take out all the necessary damage. Luckily that worked out fine, because if I could just click Aura Sphere versus it, that'd be perfect. We have a double down here. This is a very important double down. I also need to keep up with the layout. Thank you for reminding me, fans. I knew you were screaming at me. Either way here, still very scary versus his team of what he has left. And I decided to go into Whimsicott again. I feel like it was my best option, especially versus some of his potential Pokemon he could just switch in. But I'm just going to click Moonblast here versus the Cofagrigus. I really can't risk it being a Trick Room set and being very annoying versus my team. Even though I am expecting that defensive, but still. Being able to get Chip on it as well for Heracross to do damage was important. So even though I'm not going to be able to get the Tailwind in with Mega Heracross, I still feel very comfortable. And right here, I totally forgot I did not have knockoff, so I kind of switched in Mega Heracross for almost no reason. Smile. But if I got a higher rolls on the majority of these Rock Blasts, I would have been able to potentially knock out the Cofagrigus. That was me calcing a max defensive Kofag, I believe. But unfortunately, you do get kind of the lower rolls, and he's able to live on a few, and he's able to get the Will-O-Wisp off on my Mega Heracross. I was kind of making a stretch, but that was me also not wanting to risk to going my Gengar. Once I saw he wasn't leftovers, I didn't want to risk going into Gengar and him being Kasib, and my Gengar's just gone. Because once again, Gengar is able to knock out the rest of these Pokemon if I play him correctly. So I'm keeping that in mind for the rest of the game, because Gengar is my win con, 1,000,000%, especially since Mega Heracross lost his Tailwind, and he's also burnt. So Mega Heracross is kind of just pointless at this, or useless at this point. And I just wanted to be able to get off and take out the Kofag if needed, because if he was still a Trick Room set, that would be kind of annoying, because then Nidoking would just be able to destroy kind of my team, honestly. As well as Sylveon be pretty annoying. I'm just going to stay in versus Sylveon, click Rock Blast. There's zero reason for me to switch. Got to keep Blastoise healthy, and can't let Gengar take as much chip as possible, especially if you were to opt to go for like Psyshock or something that turn instead. Excuse me. But we're going to live the Hyper Voice and the Flame Recoil, and we're just going to be able to get off more Rock Blast damage. But we do unfortunately miss the Rock Blast as he opts to go for the Baton Pass. This could have been pretty big, not going to lie, because since he just opted to Baton Pass instead of Wish Protect, we would have gotten all the chip off necessary to where Sylveon would have been able to even get KO'd by a Shadow Ball on Gengar. But that doesn't really matter too much necessarily, because Sludge Wave still I would have been able to kill it after. But right here, I'm going hard. I went hard into Gengar on Hydreigon, strictly because I want to be able to bluff Scarf here. I took no time whatsoever just switching into Gengar, because if you watch Dan, you know, he looks a lot at that timer, and he considers his plays on the timer. He thinks that if you take a while, you don't know what you're doing, and if you go immediately, you exactly know what you're doing, and you're just showing your set. So I kind of used that here, as well as I think it was my best play. I need to catch up. I need to go into Gengar, get off a sub. 1,000,000% it was my best option, because I needed to be able to whittle down this Gengar, get off another potential sub, whittle down the Nidoking, get off as much damage versus Nidoking, be able just to take it out, and then I need to have a sub up versus Hydreigon, and hope Blastoise can be able to 1v1 Hydreigon if necessary. I cannot find Sylveon. There's Sylveon. So I was able to sub up, and I was able to take out the Sylveon with Sludge Wave, luckily, and but the reasoning behind that, if he was opting to switch into Nidoking on my Sludge Wave, it would take a little bit, and he would be able to take it down still, and Sylveon still would have been in the back to able to like chip off Blastoise maybe later on. So that's why that Rock Blast damage would have been nice, to where I just click Shadow Ball versus Sylveon. If Gengar were to switch, I would deal with it. So right here, when he switches Nidoking versus Gengar and brings in Hydreigon, this was my best play possible. One, there's no reason for me not to go for a substitute. Worst case scenario, he just breaks it again. I was afraid of Sucker Punch on Nidoking, so 1,000,000% I had to do it with Gengar. I had to get up the substitute again in case of that reason. And two, if I do click Shadow Ball and he goes into Hydreigon without me subbing up again, like he was hoping for, that would have put me in a worse scenario, and Blastoise would have been less likely to be able to clutch this situation. But Gengar is able just to click Shadow Ball versus this Nidoking and finish out the game. I know Dan was talking about that he was really upset about the results of this game, because he did have control for majority of the battle. But I was able just to make that correct play with Gengar, make the bluff that I was potential Colbur or Scarf, and bring it back correctly. So I was really happy about my performance. My prep could have definitely have been better, mainly because I kind of over-prepped for Cobalion and Stakataka a little bit, I'd say, because that Registeel was really just worthless this match, apart from Stealth Rocks. It would have been a little bit better to have like maybe a Solvest and Incineroar in the back to be able to help deal with Hydreigon, be a direct counter for that, and then give me U-turn pivot, especially since he didn't have like Stealth Rocks out in the field at all the entire game. So keeping that in mind, that would have been a little bit helpful, just in case we have to battle Danik like in playoffs or something of the sort, even though teams will be different. 1,000,000% they'll be different, because we'll be basing off the past 3 drafts. But very happy about this win. I was actually pretty upset around the middle point of the battle, because I was kind of just upset about my performance. Once again, the preparation and everything was kind of lacking, but to be able to bring it back and make those correct plays with Gengar was what bought me the game. Even though he played well at the beginning of the match and everything, I was able to work around it properly, and the last few turns are really, that's all that matters in the Pokemon game. Yes, all the turns matter, but if you're able to pull it back near the end, that's what's important. As long as you can make momentum for yourself, that's very good and important in a Pokemon match. The only thing I felt like it would have been better for Dan is if he were to bring the Baton Pass on Mega Lopunny instead of the Last Resort set, because it really didn't hurt the team that he brought if defensive Mew was out on the field, because he just destroyed it really with Hydreigon and Nidoking. Sure, Mew can come in and potentially be an outsped on Nidoking, get off a Psychic, but he should know I'm most likely not going to be able to do that, because I need the defensive investment for Mega Lopunny. So Lopunny being a better pivot for his team and getting in like a Specs Hydreigon would have been a lot better. But either way, the team he brought caught me off guard when I didn't see either of the 2 steals. I really wish I brought Linoone, but I was still happy how I brought back this game. Dan played very well in the beginning for sure, and me being able to bluff that Scarf on Gengar was so important. And I'm not putting anything towards Dan on that play, because that was 1,000,000% his play. Like, he could not risk Gengar being Scarf or having Colbur, because Hydreigon was his win con. Nidoking was good and kind of important there, but the fact that it's slower than Gengar, and the fact that it is, if it's not... Either way, it's slower than Gengar, period. It's slower than Gengar, and Blastoise eats its hits better, and is able to get out super effective skull damage, or just the potential Earthquake, since he already saw that. He knew Nidoking was less important than Hydreigon, and he needed to keep Hydreigon as healthy as possible and not risk that, because that was his #1 win con. So him making that play was the play. I was just able to bluff in this perfectly, and just the way that I was able to set it up was allowing me to bring back the game. So very, very great match versus Dan, 1,000,000%. I was really happy to bring it out 2-0. And now we're sitting at 3-0 with a +8 differential, which I am very hype about. And next week we'll be able to take on JustKurt in the Portrait Harriers. I think he still goes by Winnipeg Blue Blastoise at this point in the season, but I do know he changed it. So we'll be able to take on Kurt. Hopefully we can rock 4-0 with the first draft. That'd be pretty cool. I still need to try to bring Dragonite and Linoon, so hopefully you see those next week. I will face Kurt already before this goes up, so don't worry about him trying to over prep for those or anything. But yeah, let me know about your guys' feedback down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to from Dragonite and Linoon. Hopefully they will come. And let me know what also you would like to see me draft. Even though I've already done the draft kind of at this point, I still like you guys' feedback to where I could potentially get it for the next third draft. So whatever you'd be interested in seeing me drafting, as well as tier 5s. Tier 5s I'm mainly looking at. So let me know some of your favorite tier 5s and everything like that down below. But that'll be it for me this week, guys. Make sure to check out Dan's video, of course, if you didn't check out his before mine anyways. I'm kind of confused. But check out everyone else in the league as well for week 3. That'll be it for me. Sub, like, share, deuces.